Hello, this is Help Gal, and I am doing my video with my Visual Wallace device for today. Today is August 27th, 2020, so I am doing my Visual Wallace thing before having any negative symptoms. So I'm doing okay mentally, and last night Hurricane Laura came ashore just east of where I live, and Houston, where I live, did not even get a, like a sprinkle, and just hardly any wind at all. Though we are expected to have some bands affect us just with scattered showers eventually, is what that's what I last heard on the news. So I'm doing my treatment. I don't have much to do or say that I can think of, except that I feel very bad for everybody who is east of here, um, for Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, and Louisiana, Cameron, Louisiana, and the places here between here and New Orleans. I hope New Orleans is okay. I like New Orleans. Uh, I've lived there before. I was a street busker in New Orleans over 13 years ago, and I lived there for 6 months with my now husband. Um, and that was after Katrina. And living in New Orleans after Katrina, having not been a native New Orleanian, but just a Houstonian who went there very frequently, it was rather difficult because the infrastructure was so damaged by Katrina. When I moved there, lots of the streets still didn't have street signs, and people were suffering kind of mental and physical, or effects of the stress of having endured Katrina, and I know that there are lots of just lingering effects that continued for a long time. I know some people who are from New Orleans who never went back after Katrina. Blah blah blah. I am just making small talk. Hopefully, we won't have any more major hurricanes hit this area because, of course, that would be very bad. Um, and I guess Houston got very, very lucky. Though we are more prepared this year, supposedly, than we were when we had Hurricane Harvey, which was 3 years ago now, which seems like it was only yesterday. Uh, I did very well during Hurricane Harvey. I didn't lose power or have any flooding, even though I live right in the middle of Houston. The outlying areas of Houston were severely flooded, and like thousands of people, lost their homes. La la la. Um, and it was a very big stressful time. I at the time I lived in Super Happy Funland, which is my performance and art space that I helped create, and I ran for 17 years, and it took on a little bit of water, but not too much considering, and I don't think it lost power for very long. Um, I was stranded for 3 days where I left there because I was with my daughter, and we stayed at a friend's house, uh, and so I couldn't get back there for a couple of days. But when I got back, morale was low, but there wasn't much flooding, and but it was still a scary time. I don't really remember a whole lot about it. Let's see, what else to talk about. Ah, yes. So I did not get hit by Hurricane Laura at all. I am in the midst of trying to raise. I was asked to help raise funds for Super Happy Funland. I don't live there anymore, and that's after living there for almost 17 years. Uh, um, uh, in a it's kind of like a windowless warehouse, and living in a windowless warehouse for many years has had a negative effect upon my mental and physical health, and I don't live that way anymore, and I have to I feel the need to defend myself for not, uh, for no longer living that way, because, it, I wasn't adapting very well. It never got any easier. Um, I was having chronic stress problems and suffering from like a perpetual seasonal affective disorder from having my circadian rhythm constantly interfered with by the lack of natural lighting. And so, I guess over 10 years at least, because there were two locations. There was one location that existed for 5 years, and I had to leave after a while just because I am an introvert, I am autistic, I was I didn't handle the loud bands and the crowds and that kind of stuff on a regular basis very well, and there were other factors also. So, uh, I did leave there for 6 months from the first location. Then our second location, I was there for uh, almost 12 years, I guess, and uh, yes, I had like mental and physical problems from it. Uh, that it's hard to really articulate what it was like, except that I was having meltdowns from the sound and not having a and the natural light thing. I mentioned that, and just the constant. I would be overwhelmed all of the time, and when people would meet me for the first time, they always thought I was mad at them or upset, and I wasn't. I was just overwhelmed, and it just went on and 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 on. And yes, it just there was no foreseeable escape from that way of living, and I wish I could have done a better job, but I was affected by the lack of natural light uh, pretty profoundly. Um, Now I live in a house with windows, and I don't think I believe that everyone should have the chance to live in a house with windows. Natural light is important, and of course, people would say I could just go outside if I wanted to, but wasn't that easy for me personally. I admire people who could be more adaptable and manage to live like that and manage to live like that indefinitely. But I I just couldn't, and I had the opportunity to leave, and I took it. Um, I still have, my, I still have cognitive and functionality issues, but like I don't have the chronic weirdness that kind of came with having absolutely no natural lighting in my living environment. Um, da, 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 da. Anyway, blah blah blah. I'm just random. I'm just babbling, making small talk. Uh, I'm doing okay today. I'm blah blah blah. I'm just at loss of words. There's a reason why I don't talk a whole lot. If I try to, I should practice, and I'm not scripted. And when I try to, I'm a divergent thinker, so one subject will segue into another, and I will forget the first subject, and so on. It just keeps, and then I'll end up repeating myself. Uh, it's it's a good thing to practice, I suppose. It's I so my videos don't get a lot of uh, I don't have a lot of viewers, and I don't really particularly care how I may present myself. I mean, if I'm on camera with my head zapping device uh, uh, and whatnot, uh, you know, I'm I don't expect this to be of great interest to very many people. But anyway, I should start posting videos in my old Facebook. I'm sorry, my old YouTube account again, which are uh, just regular music videos. La, 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 la. I feel bad. I feel like this is an outtake and like I should start over again. But that would mean sorry. I'm distracted. There's a show on. I spacey. But I'm okay today. I promise I am. And I'm glad we were not affected by the hurricane. And I feel bad about the wildfires in California. And I I I completely avoided the I don't somebody yelling on the television. Okay, spacey. This is I'm not I'm having one of those days where I can't remember whether or not I took my meds for attention deficit disorder. I took one of them, but I don't know if I took the other one, and it probably shows. But I did take my brain functioning pills. I take herbal supplements to help my brain, and I took those, and I took guanfacine, which is a non-stimulant ADD med that also is given to people who are autistic, which I am both autistic and have attention deficit disorder. And guanfacine is given a lot often to children who are on the spectrum, and it's also given for attention deficit disorder. And I happen to like it, but a lot of people don't. It's a blood pressure med that is used. It's supposed to help parts of the brain function more efficiently, but it may not seem like it's working on me at this moment, just because I probably present as extremely scattered right now. But that's because in general I'm really scattered. So yeah, at least I'm not crying today. Hoorays. So yeah, I think I can stave off crying jacks for the day. Fingers crossed. And I would like, and I have things I have to do. Oh yes, I was doing a fundraiser for the place that I helped run for 50 or almost 17 years, and I just asked for money on Facebook, and a bunch of people donated, and I've got to make thank you gifts for them. So that's my goal today, is to make thank you gifts for people who donated, and I have to kind of keep going with the fundraising because like a lot of music venues all over the country and probably the world, so many independent music venues are suffering from the effects of COVID-19, and my venue that I helped run is no exception. It is currently hanging on by a thread, supported only by the fact that our rent is relatively cheap, and that my partner who runs the place, who is the true founder of the place, my former my co-founder, he runs a pizza truck, and the pizza truck supports the venue, which is just this warehouse where where people stay as well. It's not having shows, and it'd probably be a good idea for them, because I don't live there all the time, so I'm not actively functioning. I'm not an actual active functional part, but I still am. I was for a long time, so I still kind of am. It would be a good idea to find other means of using the space while we're still closed because of COVID. But the people who live there and whatnot really need to organize it and clean it up so that it can be a space where people can feel comfortable. And another problem that the place has is that it's a warehouse and there's an air conditioning problem. So I am somewhat relieved that we were not open all summer because the air conditioning situation is deplorable in the summer, and funds and some method of raising money should be constantly going on if they are to open again by next summer so that AC can be fixed. Uh, and I wish I should try to be more functional and find ways of helping out without wearing myself out too much, because I'm one of those people who's kind of, uh, there's only so much that I can do before I start to malfunction. So I have to sort of, I have to sort of pace myself, and I can't put myself all the way out there, because if I do, then I'll sort of, uh, you know, have I'm prone to having breakdowns to where I'm not able to go for too long, and then I'll, yeah. So, but I try. And one interesting thing about Super Happy Funland is that everyone who lives there, more or less, is on the neurodivergent side, for the most part. And I was a person, and then some of the people who stay there on a regular basis are also on the neurodivergent side. So it's sort of it's unique in that aspect, though that it can cause some problems because you have a group of people who have kind of a difficult time taking care of themselves, running a venue. There's, and it's hard for people to try to come in and direct them because it's hard to explain, but it is an issue. But it is remarkable that we've gone on for as long as we have. So that is something. Let's see what else. I can't think of anything else to talk about. I have too many things. I don't know what to zero in on to talk about. Oh yeah, so fundraising. I have to make thank you gifts for people for donating money to us via PayPal, and I might as well put the link to our PayPal in. I'll put a link to my venue website, and if anybody sees this and feels like donating to yet another struggling music performance and arts space that has been closed because of COVID, I will send out fabulous thank you gifts if I have people's addresses. I'm going to have to contact all these people and figure out what they want. I'm thinking of making tote bags. Oh, and my little beeper just went off. My session is over. Wow, that seemed to take almost no time. I have zero concept of passage of time. That's one fun thing I have. It's like 5 minutes and half an hour seem like the same thing almost. It just, time seems to speed up and slow down. I have no, yeah, but, c'est la vie. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.